Most young adults do not have a clue how money works or the velocity of money. They don't even know what I'm talking about. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how you can teach your adult children how money works and how to become their own banker, because they will not learn it in college. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for 5 decades. And in doing so, I've taught a lot of older people how money works, the velocity of money, and many times they sit there with their mouths open. But then I worry about their children and if the parents are taking time to teach their adult children so they do not make the same mistakes. And so I have several different examples of concepts that if you simply learned these concepts when you were in your 20s or 30s or 40s, instead of waiting until you're in your 60s and 70s to learn them, it makes a huge difference in your net worth, in your retirement nest egg, not outliving your money, and so forth. Because I wish I had a nickel for every time a retired couple said, "Wow, Doug, this is phenomenal. You have taken us from the highest tax bracket here in California to a 0% tax bracket in 5 years. But golly, I wish we would have known this 30 years ago, and we could have avoided even the $2 million we paid in tax doing these strategies. But we're grateful now that we have $4 million tax-free, and this couple actually didn't need the money at that point, and that $4 million has doubled to $8 million in less than 7.5 years. They now have $8 million generating $600,000 to $800,000 a year of growth, tax-free income. They only need $300,000 to live on. And so, but they're in a 0% tax bracket now. We do this all the time. But when we teach many clients these strategies, they turn around and they go, golly, I wish I would have known this way back, 20, 30 years ago. Yep. I wish I could have prevented having to cure this financial dis-ease that they have. And so in this episode, one of the things that has been a game changer is teaching people how to become their own banker. There's basically 4 things you can do with money. You can spend it, lend it, own with it, or give it away. Now, when people think about it, they go, well, it would be best to own with your money, right? And I go, well, yeah, but I own and loan on the same asset. I sort of double dip. And so they ask me, what do you mean by that? Well, you may not realize the way money works and what makes the world go round is that you're actually paying interest. There's such a thing as good debt and bad debt, okay? Because a lot of times people will quip, well, there's 2 kinds of people in the world, those who pay interest and those who earn interest. And I go, that's cute, but no, there's actually a 3rd kind of person in the world. And those are the ones who are mega wealthy. They learn when it's wise to pay interest in order to make more interest. This is what banks, credit unions, and multi-trillion-dollar insurance companies do. If they stop paying interest, they would wither up and die. That's their lifeblood. A bank or credit union's greatest asset is their liabilities. If they stop paying interest, they would wither up, okay? So a bank, credit union, they may pay you 1%, 2%, 3% interest. So every $1 million of OPM, other people's money they borrow, they pay you 3%, okay? So that's costing them $30,000 on every $1 million. They turn around and put that $1 million out and loan it out at 7 or 8%, or truth be known, 30 to 40% of their tier 1 assets are invested in insurance companies, and they earn sometimes 5 or 6% there. So they're paying 2 or 3, and they're earning 5 or 6. They're making 200%, 300% more than the net cost of the funds. They conservatively know that it's worth their while to pay interest to make more interest. Sometimes I have to simplify it by saying, would you hire an employee for $40,000 that made you an extra $80,000? Yeah, that's 100% return on employment cost. Would you buy a widget machine for $40,000 that made you an extra $80,000? That's 100% return on equipment cost. Well, many years average on my real estate, if I have borrowed money at 6% tax deductible interest in a 33% bracket, that's a net cost of 4%. Every $1 million, I pay $40,000 in interest for the year. But on that $1 million, because I don't have it tied up in the real estate's going to do whatever it's going to do. It's going to go up in value or it's going to go down in value. But if it goes down in value, I don't lose because my money's not tied up in the real estate. It's over in the laser fund, earning a rate of return of 8 to 10%. Let's just take 8. How much more is 8 than 4? It's 80,000. I'm making 80 grand on the 40,000 that I paid. I'll do that all day long. That's how money works. And it actually just gets better from there because that's the first year. As this one continues to compound at 8%, it's going to be giving you 8% on a bigger balance than it was the first year and the second year and so forth. Over here, that's a simple interest declining balance, tax deductible on most real estate loans. So when you do the math on every 100,000 of equity that I have kept separated from my real estate over a 30-year period, if I borrowed that money at 6.5% and I was only earning 8.5%, some people say, you'll do all that for 2%. I'll go, absolutely, yep. Because it's an extra $1,055,000 over a 30-year period, and that's a one-off. That's only separating 100,000 or keeping 100,000 separated one time, never repositioning, never refinancing, never doing anything, just letting it sit and it compounds and you're ahead of the game $1 million. Math doesn't lie. And so people need to understand this. In fact, if you want to get out of debt, the quickest, smartest way, it's not sending extra principal payments to the mortgage company. A lot of young people don't know this. You put that money that you would send to the mortgage company and put it over here, compounding tax-free in my favorite vehicle, the laser fund. And many times, if you rebalance and diversify, you may average 9 or 10% like I have. Let's just say 9. But if I'm borrowing money at 4.5% tax deductible interest in my business, a net cost of 3, and if I was making 300% more than the cost of the funds, that's a nice business model right there. Well, you're doing that maybe on your working capital in your business while you're making money in your business. So you double dip. You're owning and loaning and you're understanding how money works, but you can't believe how many people don't even understand the velocity of money. So let me just touch on that, and this is going to blow you away. The best way for me to explain velocity would be if you were to go to your banker and borrow $1 million on a construction loan to build a house, let's say. So you get the $1 million and you begin to pay that to the general contractor to build your new home, okay? Now, what does the general contractor do with that money, that $1 million, as you give it to him to build your house over the next year? The general contractor, of course, is in business for profit. He or she's going to take their piece. And then they're going to pay the suppliers. They're going to pay the subcontractors. But where do all of those parties end up putting that money? Back in the bank. So that means the bank loans you $1 million, and they know they're going to get the $1 million back again from the general contractor, the subs, and the suppliers. So they loan out $1 million, and they're charging, 7 or 8% or whatever. Okay, maybe 4.5% tax deductible. But see, they know that if they loan it out, they're going to get it back again in one form or another, and then they loan it out again, and so they keep getting it back and pay 2 or 3%. They keep loaning it back at 7 or 8%, and they make billions and trillions of dollars. In fact, the same million will be loaned out and received back by an average bank every 17 times in a year. In a recession, maybe only 12 times a year, shucky darn. But see, a lot of people don't even understand this. The amount of money in the American economy that's making it tick is way more money than what is in print. And a lot of people don't even understand this. They don't even think about these things. You can get in control of your own money, and you can have your money working for you, and you can benefit when assets are going up in value, whether it's the stock market or the real estate market, without being at risk when the real estate market crashes or the stock market crashes by using a liquid safe laser fund. This is where I keep my serious cash to keep it liquid, safe, earning a predictable rate of return, double or triple or more than the net cost of the funds. This is where the wealthy learn how to become their own banker. And so why in the world wouldn't I pay 20 or 30,000 of interest on $1 million if that made me an extra 80 or 90,000 or more? I would be giving up 300% rates of return. And so why would you fire an employee that's making you 3 times what they're costing? That's not smart. Why would you get rid of a machine that's making you 300% more than the cost? That's what I'm talking about here. So if you want to learn more about these concepts and how they may apply to you, how to become your own banker, and this will help you not outlive your money. And when you understand the laser fund, you will continue with that concept all through your golden years so that you're actually having a tax-free income for as long as you live by being your own banker with your own laser bank. Learn about this. Claim your free copy now. Go to laserfund.com or click on the link below. And when you're in there claiming your free copy, I'll ask you to contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I require a little bit of skin in the game. But I'll pay for the book, and I'll fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail. But if you like to listen and learn and watch and learn rather than just read, check out those formats. We have educational webinars. They're free. We teach them on a regular basis. But you can even schedule an appointment to talk to a IUL professional that's certified, that I oversee, that have proven to me that they know what they're doing, so that you can see how these concepts may apply in your particular set of circumstances. And you want to make sure you go to the right advisors who understand how to do this correctly. So this is about you and your brighter future. Here's to your brighter future.